Imagine you are 19 years old.
Okay, bringing me back.
Right. And tomorrow, literally tomorrow, you officially become an adult.
Oh, man, the pressure of that is just massive.
It is. But today, right now, you are sitting across a small wooden table in this very quiet tea house.
Okay.
And sitting across from you is one of the most intimidating, legendary music producers in your entire country.
That is genuinely terrifying.
Right. Your career, your future, basically everything you've just bled for on this grueling reality TV show depends entirely on this exact conversation.
Yeah, that's a high-stakes environment.
Exactly. So the question is, how do you translate that terrifying, vibrating thrill of growing up into like a single musical chord?
It's an incredibly tense moment, isn't it? Because you've got this ascendant rookie, someone who is just a complete bundle of raw potential and nerves.
Right, totally raw.
And then on the other side of the table, you have this veteran hitmaker who operates on decades of refined instinct. We aren't just looking at two people talking about a song here.
Right.
No, not at all. We are watching a real-time, high-wire negotiation of human emotion. They are actively trying to sync up their psychological states to basically manufacture a cultural moment out of thin air.
And that is exactly what we are unpacking today. We're doing a deep dive in a really fascinating behind-the-scenes video from a highly specific Korean music production process.
I'm so excited for this one.
Because famous singers, you know, no matter how good their voices actually are, they desperately need hit songs. So let's set the stage for you, the listener.
Yeah, let's get the context down.
We talk about the top 6 finalists from the hyper-competitive South Korean survival television show, Sing Again 4.
Which is just a brutal competition.
It really is. And these top 6 singers are competing for the ultimate prize, which is a bespoke, custom-crafted hit song written by legendary Korean producers.
Right, because their vocal ability, that's already been proven.
Exactly. They survived the gauntlet. The objective now shifts entirely from just singing well to achieving actual market penetration.
Yeah, it becomes about strategic songwriting.
It does. Welcome to Future_Music Deep Dive.
I really love that we are digging into this, because if you've ever had a mentor who just magically got you, or if you've ever felt the absolute terror of a major life transition, you're going to recognize exactly what's happening in this room.
Oh, 100%.
Understanding how artists take all this messy, lived human experience and synthesize it into a 3-minute pop song, it actually increases our fundamental understanding of human connection.
Right, it's about the mechanics of that connection.
Exactly. It's how we communicate comfort. And when music successfully transmits that comfort, it directly reduces the friction and the stress of our daily lives.
That's a great way to put it. It increases prosperity in the universe in a subtle way.
Yeah, it really does. So when we deconstruct this video today, we aren't just talking about music theory. We're analyzing a highly sophisticated delivery system for psychological relief.
Okay, let's jump right into the actual footage. We need to systematically examine the cultural architecture of their very first meeting.
Let's do it.
So let's look at the setting. They aren't in, like, a sterile, intimidating recording studio with soundproof glass and massive mixing boards everywhere.
Which you would expect for a major pop production.
Right, but the physical location is actually a traditional, serene tea house.
Oh, that's such a specific choice.
It is, and yet the tension is just palpable. The junior artist, who goes by the stage name Slowly, is radiating this intense, almost nervous reverence for the senior producer, Ahn Shin-ae.
You can physically see the nerves on her.
You really can. For those who might not know, can you explain the cultural weight of this dynamic? Like, what is actually happening in the room?
Absolutely. So in Korean culture, you have the Sunbae and Hoobae dynamic. It's essentially the senior and the junior relationship. Right. And this isn't just a polite suggestion, you know. It establishes a very rigid, highly structured hierarchy based on age, your experience, and specifically when you debuted in the industry.
It dictates everything, right?
It dictates the exact language you use, your body posture, just everything. The tea house acts as this beautiful neutral zone to sort of soften that.
But Slowly is still very clearly in Hoobae mode.
Oh, completely. If you watch Slowly, her reverence is fully encoded in her honorific speech and how stiffly she sits at first. She is sitting at attention.
But here is where it gets structurally fascinating from a production standpoint.
Yeah, watch Ahn Shin-ae, the senior producer.
She deliberately initiates what we might call a physical override of the situation.
Yes, the physical geometry of the interaction completely shifts.
Exactly. They're sitting across from each other, but Ahn Shin-ae starts leaning in.
Right, across the table.
Yeah, she maintains this sustained, warm eye contact. She's using her physical body language to short-circuit the awkwardness of that hierarchy.
By leaning in and keeping that eye contact, she's physically breaking down that invisible wall of seniority.
It's like she's forcing a system reset.
She is. She's communicating, without saying a single word, that the standard rules of social stratification are temporarily suspended in this tea house.
Right.
This empathetic mirroring basically forces the junior artist to shift from a posture of subservient respect to a posture of creative equality.
Okay, I have to push back on this just a little bit, or at least after this cynical, analytical question.
Go for it.
Is Ahn Shin-ae dismantling this hierarchy purely out of empathy because she's just a genuinely nice person? Or is this a highly calculated production strategy?
Oh, that's the real question.
Because to me, as someone looking at the raw mechanics of creating a hit, neutralizing that power dynamic seems like the absolute only way a producer can extract raw, unfiltered material from a young vocalist.
Right, because if she's scared...
Exactly. If the hierarchy stays totally intact, won't the junior artist just output whatever safe, boring thing she thinks the senior producer wants to hear?
That is a brilliant point, and honestly, the answer is that it's both. Empathy and calculation are not mutually exclusive when you are trying to produce great art.
They kind of feed into each other.
Exactly. Yes, Ahn Shin-ae is a warm, empathetic person, but she is also a strategic genius. Breaking the hierarchy is a necessary mechanical step to access unique data from Slowly.
Because if Slowly is terrified of making a mistake, she'll just give derivative, predictable answers.
Precisely. Ahn Shin-ae needs the weird, raw stuff to actually build a hit that stands out.
And we get the weird, raw stuff almost immediately. Let's talk about the tea tasting.
Oh my goodness, the tea scene.
Because this is the exact moment Ahn Shin-ae figures out who she is dealing with. So they're drinking this traditional tea, and Ahn Shin-ae is just watching her, right? Letting her talk.
Just gathering data.
Yep. And slowly takes a sip and describes her tea as tasting like potato.
Which is just the greatest description.
It's such an oddly specific and totally unpretentious flavor note for a formal tea tasting, like potato.
Right. But then she elaborates and it gets even better.
She says very earnestly that she tastes the energy of the earth from above the clouds.
The energy of the earth from above the clouds? I mean, wow.
And then she casually mentions that she recently visited a Buddhist temple just to feel calmer and to receive inspiration.
Okay, let's unpack this for a second. The energy of the earth from above the clouds. If a normal teenager said that to me, I might honestly think they were just trying to sound deep.
Like they're trying too hard, yeah.
Exactly. But how does Ahn Shin-ae, the veteran producer, process this?
She conducts an immediate cognitive assessment. She doesn't laugh it off, and she doesn't dismiss it as kid stuff.
No, she takes it seriously.
Ahn Shin-ae actually states directly to the camera later, this friend is definitely unique.
And that is not just a polite throwaway compliment for TV.
Not at all. She is establishing the baseline data for the hit song formula they're about to construct. The song they make literally cannot be standard boilerplate pop music.
It wouldn't fit her profile.
Exactly. It has to accommodate and actually amplify this specific idiosyncrasy. She's verifying that Slowly pays deep analytical attention to her internal feelings and her environment.
So we know the raw material Slowly is bringing to the table now. She's quirky, sensitive, deeply observant.
The unique data set.
But to understand how this song is actually going to be built, we have to understand the producer's underlying paradigm. Where is Ahn Shin-ae coming from?
Right, because she wasn't always this zen, tea house frequenting mentor.
Not even close. To understand her operative framework, you have to look at her background narrative. Ahn Shin-ae deliberately relocated to Jeju Island.
Which is a huge move. For our listeners who might not be familiar, can you explain what Jeju Island represents culturally in South Korea?
Yeah, so Jeju Island is technically part of South Korea, obviously, but culturally it operates as the ultimate sanctuary. It is the geographic and psychological opposite of Seoul.
Seoul being the intense, non-stop hub.
Right. Seoul is hyper-competitive, incredibly fast-paced, and honestly exhausting. Jeju is nature, the ocean, and just slowness.
It's an environmental reset.
Exactly. When Ahn Shin-ae moved there, she engaged in woodworking. She picked tangerines, she spent time physically observing the changing seasons. She fundamentally altered her daily environment to reset her own brain.
And she explicitly talks about why she did this in the video. She says that before Jeju, she spent her life just digging into music.
Just digging into music.
That specific phrase implies this brutal, exhausting period of intense technical obsession. It sounds incredibly isolating.
Oh, burnout city.
Right. But the relocation to Jeju initiated a massive paradigm shift for her as a creator. Her new goal, her actual mission statement as a producer, crystallized into this. I want to pass on the comfort I receive from nature to people in the city.
Think about how beautiful that is as a mission statement.
It is stunning. And if we look at it through the lens of music production, it's basically a highly optimized sonic supply chain.
Ooh, a sonic supply chain. I like that.
Well, think about it. Ahn Shin-ae is harvesting raw emotional tranquility from the nature of Jeju Island, and she is processing it into a highly engineered, mass-market pop product designed specifically to alleviate the suffering and stress of people grinding away in urban environments.
That is exactly what she's doing.
When you listen to her music, you are essentially consuming concentrated acoustic relief. She is actively trying to increase understanding and reduce friction for the listener.
And for that acoustic relief to actually work, there has to be a shared understanding between the producer and the artist. Ahn Shin-ae can't just hand a Jeju Island comfort track to a singer who fundamentally doesn't understand the vibe.
No, it would sound fake.
Yeah.
The listener would detect the incoherence immediately.
Which brings us to a critical moment in the tea house. Slowly responds to Ahn Shin-ae's story by casually proving her own authenticity as a fan.
Oh, I love this part. It was so organic.
She doesn't just say, oh, I love your music. That's what anyone would say to a famous producer, right? It's just polite filler.
Right, it's expected.
Instead, Slowly references a very specific Ahn Shin-ae song called South to the West.
Which is already a good cut.
But she goes further. She explicitly mentions the specific dancing in the music video, and then she brings up a highly niche live performance Ahn Shin-ae did at Inha University.
Okay, why does that matter so much strategically? Why is the Inha University mentioned such a big deal?
Because it completely bypasses the superficial level of passive consumption. It proves Slowly is a real, true fan. It's basically a secret handshake.
It's verification.
Exactly. It dramatically accelerates their collaborative efficiency. Think about it normally. When two strangers get into a room to write a song, they have to spend hours, maybe even days, figuring out what they both like.
Playing reference tracks, talking about influences.
Right. Try and find common ground. It's a very friction-heavy process.
But because Slowly drops that specific Inha University reference, they instantly share a foundational data set.
Yes. They can skip the awkward introductory jading phase of collaboration and proceed directly to rapid prototyping. The friction is just entirely gone.
Ahn Shin-ae knows exactly how deep Slowly's musical vocabulary goes in that 1 second.
Precise.
Which leads us directly to the rapid prototyping phase.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where the magic really, truly happens.
It's incredible to watch.
Because they don't move to a computer. They don't pull up a spreadsheet of trending TikTok sounds or analyze chart data.
Which a lot of producers would do in 2024.
Yeah. Instead, Ahn Shin-ae suggests they just grab an acoustic guitar and sketch out whatever flows out right now.
She is pushing the entire interaction to the edge of chaos.
The edge of chaos. I love that terminology.
And I mean that in the best possible way. The edge of chaos is where rigid, predictive models, like bringing a pre-written, perfectly polished track to the singer, are totally abandoned.
You're stepping off the map.
Exactly. Instead, you enter a state of real-time responsiveness. It's highly functional art emerging spontaneously. The music becomes a direct, unmediated translation of what is actually happening in the room between the two of them.
And when Slowly takes the guitar, she starts playing around, right? And she plays this one simple chord.
Yeah.
And almost immediately, she stops. She rejects her own chord.
It's such a great moment of self-editing.
She engages in this rigorous self-evaluation right there on the spot. And she uses the most incredible analogy to explain why it's the wrong sound. She calls it the middle schooler going to the convenience store chord.
That analogy is just staggering when you really think about it.
It is.
It reveals a profound, intuitive understanding of emotional branding. A middle schooler going to a convenience store, what does that actually feel like?
It feels very mundane.
Right. It's safe, it's predictable, it's completely innocent. You're just buying a snack in the middle of the afternoon.
Yeah.
There is zero complex tension in that scenario.
It's a completely resolved emotional state.
Mm-hmm.
And Slowly correctly identifies that a convenience store sound does not match her current market requirements.
No, it won't work for her brand anymore.
She needs something different to stand out. So what does she actually ask for?
She asks Ahn Shin-ae for a minor chord, Now, for anyone listening who isn't a musician, a major chord generally sounds happy, resolved, and simple.
Like the convenience store.
Exactly. A minor chord, on the other hand, sounds slightly sad, unresolved, or tense. It has a bit of an edge.
Right.
But Slowly doesn't explain it using music theory. She frames this request entirely culturally. She says she wants the sound of a newly minted adult making up my mind and going to a wine bar confidently with my ID stuck to my forehead.
With my ID stuck to my forehead. I mean, come on. That is just brilliant songwriting right there.
It's pure poetry. It's so evocative.
But to really grasp the weight of this specific imagery, we have to explain the cultural context for the listener.
Yeah, the Korean age system plays a huge part here.
Remember when we said she was 19? Well, Slowly is graduating from high school the very next day.
Literally tomorrow.
And in Korea, turning 20 is a massive, massive societal milestone. It is the definitive line between childhood and adulthood.
It's not just a birthday, it's a status shift.
Exactly. It grants you legal adult status. It fundamentally alters how society interacts with you, including, crucially, the legal right to consume alcohol in environments like, say, a sophisticated wine bar.
So let's look at how this specific life transition alters her strategy for the song. She is explicitly directing her veteran producer to update her emotional branding.
She's demanding a rebrand in real time.
She knows she absolutely cannot sing a middle schooler song anymore. She requires a track that signals maturity, complexity, and that slight vibrating anxiety of entering the adult world.
Think about the imagery she used. Confidently, with my ID stuck to my forehead.
It's so vivid.
It perfectly captures that universal feeling of being 19 or 20. You are so intensely eager to prove your new status. You want everyone to know you legally belong in that wine bar.
Look at my ID. I am an adult.
Right. But simultaneously, you have absolute zero life experience. You're actually terrified underneath all that projected confidence.
Exactly. And the minor chord is the precise sonic equivalent of that complex, slightly anxious maturity.
Because a major chord is the convenience store. Sunny, easy, fully resolved.
But the minor chord introduces an acoustic tension that makes the listener lean in. It has secrets, it has a little bit of darkness to it.
It has friction.
It does. It forces the listener to feel the unresolved frequencies within themselves. Slowly is actively shedding the restrictive, safe label of the student. She is embracing her identity as an independent artist stepping into a very complex world.
And Ahn Shin-ae, sitting right across from her, recognizes this raw, unjaded ambition instantly. She sees the data point.
And think about how Ahn Shin-ae's mission shifts right here. Her original mandate coming from Jeju Island was to provide comfort.
Right, that's soothing acoustic relief.
But now she realizes she has to accommodate this powerful new emotional vector from Slowly. It can't just be soothing anymore.
This perfectly illustrates something Ahn Shin-ae says directly to the camera later on. She basically states that working instinctively, without calculating too much, is a way for a musician's true musicality to show.
And Slowly proves this immediately in the room. Once Ahn Shin-ae starts playing those minor chords on the guitar, Slowly just starts scatting over them.
Just totally off the cuff.
Yeah, she's improvising melodies right on the spot.
The strategic advantage of that instinctual workflow is massive when you're producing.
Oh, the speed is incredible.
You get unprecedented speed to market, yes, but more importantly, you get a highly authentic product. When you remove the overthinking and the heavy calculation, the latency between the emotional impulse in your brain and the acoustic output from your mouth basically drops to zero.
There's no filter. You are hearing the raw, unedited truth of how she feels in that exact second.
So they have the emotional core figured out.
Yeah.
This tension of the wine bar transition into adulthood.
Yeah.
But what exactly are they building structurally?
Because it's not just a feeling, it has to be a song.
Right. Slowly doesn't just leave it at the chords. She defines the parameters of the track very, very clearly for Ahn Shin-ae. She tells her, this time it's hip. I think doing a rap would be good too, an R&B vibe.
Which is a massive, deliberate pivot for her.
Huge pivot.
Keep in mind the context of where they came from. They are on the survival show, Sing Again 4. And survival shows in Korea traditionally favor these sweeping, highly emotional ballads.
Because ballads are statistically the safest way to show off your vocal range and get the audience to vote for you.
Exactly. It's the standard playbook. But Slowly is defining the architecture of a totally new identity here. She is actively moving away from the safe ballad toward a rhythm-centric urban genre.
And this strategic choice aligns so perfectly with the wine bar aesthetic she just established.
It really does.
If you're going to a dimly lit, sophisticated wine bar, you aren't listening to a soaring, tear-jerking ballad. That doesn't fit the environment.
No, it would kill the mood entirely.
You're listening to something sophisticated, something slightly dark, built on those exact minor chords they were just playing. You're listening to something rhythmically complex, like R&B or hip-hop.
It signals that she's mature. She's arrived.
Exactly. And it all comes to a head in what I think is the exact climax of their interaction in the tea house.
This is my favorite part of the whole video.
It's the moment the true emotional engine of the song is actually forged. Ahn Shin-ae just looks at her crush it, slowly, and simply asks her how she feels about graduating high school tomorrow.
Such a simple, direct question.
And the response is so immediate and visceral. Slowly doesn't say she's sad to leave her friends or that she's scared of the future, which is what you might expect.
Right, the typical answers.
She says she feels relieved. And she summarizes the entire feeling in one specific phrase, "Bring it on, world," or in Korean, "Dambyora Sasan."
Bring it on, world. That is the spark right there. That is the engine of the entire project.
You can see Ahn Shin-ae's face change when she hears it.
Ahn Shin-ae recognizes the power of it the second she says it. You know, Ahn Shin-ae actually admits that before she walked into that tea house, she intentionally didn't prepare a specific direction for the song.
Which is risky for a producer.
Highly risky. And because of that, she felt a lot of internal anxiety. But the moment Slowly says, "Bring it on, world," that anxiety just vanishes completely. It's replaced by this absolute, unshakable faith in what they are building together.
It's amazing to watch the producer adapt her entire framework in real time. Ahn Shin-ae's initial framework was built on the gentle, restorative, quiet nature of Jeju Island.
The acoustic relief.
Exactly. But here, she dynamically adapts her skills to validate and amplify this rookie's sheer audacity. She realizes the comfort Slowly needs isn't a lullaby, it's a battle cry.
Oh, that's a great way to frame it. So, based on all of this, what does the final product actually look like?
We can synthesize the final product vector right from this moment in the video. The resulting track is clearly not going to be a passive, comforting nature ballad.
Definitely not.
It's going to be an aggressive, minor-key R&B anthem, fueled entirely by youthful ambition and the electric tension of transitioning into adulthood.
To use an analogy, the veteran producer, Ahn Shin-ae, provided this incredibly sophisticated structural canvas. She brought the minor chords, the R&B framing, the safe, non-hierarchical space of the tea house.
Infrastructure.
Yes, the infrastructure. And Slowly, the rookie, is taking vibrant, aggressive paint and just throwing it onto that canvas with that bring it on world energy.
I love that visual. And they actually conclude the interaction by uniting against all the other competitors and producers on the show.
It's so great.
They literally say together, right at the camera, "Bring it on, other producers."
It's the absolute perfect ending to the meeting. They achieved total systemic coherence in that room.
They really did. What we witnessed in that video was the exact mechanical efficiency of two artists just completely clicking.
A mind meld?
Yes. A vague, incredibly complex emotional state, the anxiety, the relief, the terrifying excitement of turning 20 was captured in a tea house.
It was captured, categorized by a master producer, and then instantly translated into a highly specific, strategic musical formula.
The existential friction of becoming an adult was literally converted into acoustic energy.
This is what functional art looks like in actual practice. It moves from an abstract, messy human experience into a concrete, marketable reality.
And it manages to do so without losing a single ounce of its structural or emotional integrity. We literally just watched the blueprint of how a hit song is engineered from scratch.
It's not just designed to sound good on the radio, It's designed for profound psychological resonance.
Exactly. When a 19-year-old listener hears that specific minor chord, they will feel understood. They will feel that someone else gets the terror of the wine bar.
And that ultimately is the real comfort Ahn Shin-ae is providing. She's increasing our understanding of each other through these frequencies.
And as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you, the listener, with something to mull over.
A little homework.
Exactly. Consider your own life right now. The transitions you are currently going through, the challenges you're facing.
Whatever they might be.
If you were to sit across from a master producer in that tea house today, and they asked you to grab a guitar, what is the precise chord progression that defines your current psychological state?
Ooh, that's a really great question to ask yourself.
Are you operating on a simple, predictable convenience store major chord right now? Or are you currently navigating the complex, tension-filled frequencies of a minor key wine bar phase?
Because understanding your own internal acoustics, literally knowing what chord you are playing in your own life, is the necessary first step to mastering your environment.